Hello and welcome. We return. Well, it is, of course, World Building Wednesday. Well, no, wait. No, it's Solo Sunday. I forgot what day it was there for a second. I mean, I prepared more so. I messed up on our intro there. It's, of course, Solo Sunday. But, I mean, Friday, but that's not important. We've been over that so many times. It's not important. It's the day in which we roll the dice. I am, of course, a little bit unprepared. A very little bit unprepared. As, earlier, I had to attend a small imperial matter, meaning I was not late, but like 30 seconds late in preparing, so sort of rushed to start. Not that there's any actual, like, schedule here, other than the days, sort of. So, it's just sort of a personal choice, if you will, to start at when we start. Here we are, just going over our little set of files to see if I can actually find it here. I was messing with the files in a different format. There we are. Nope, because we have to click here first. There we are. Oh, and we need to zoom in. So, half a second longer. Okay, there we are. Just making sure I have water available. Here we go. So, last time on Solo Sunday, which there's been quite a few of, our adventurer, Juliana Aldis, has been going on a variety of tasks and missions and objectives. It's all archived in our uploaded videos over on YouTube, I believe, where all the VODs are. Here we are. Juliana Aldis was in the shopping district, searching for, well, just most things. Currently, we have secured our target, the target we've been searching for, and basically we've been cut off from the outer world for the most part. Specifically, we're on a mission in this city to retrieve a specific individual and the data they have. We retrieve the individual, the data still might be out there. The primary objective is the individual. We have them, but we have no way to extract them from the city, as there's a war between two factions here, and we're stuck in a gang-controlled area of the city. So, Yulana Aldis is waiting, as her orders are to wait from the government she's working for as a mercenary. The orders are to hold and wait for a time to get the target out of there. The one thing we can't risk is just trying to get the target out of there while security is so high. The enemies know we have the target. And if we try and get the target out and they get captured, well, that's a complete mission failure. Or if they get killed, well, that's less of a mission failure, but not entirely. It's a mission failure if the target gets killed. Let's be fair. Yulana Aldis wants the target dead, but also wants money. So, and she doesn't want to make enemies of the government she's working for. So it's a bit complicated. of course, she hates the target and wants the target dead. Not like personally, but from a her background perspective, which is she hates the government the target's from, which isn't the enemy government of this world. It's a different one. It's we've been at this for a while, so of course it's a bit complicated the way it all goes. But in short, using all this wants them dead, but doesn't want to kill them because missions. And can't get them out of the city because high alert. That's the short of it. We aren't going to dally or delay. We're actually going to get to the game. So, without further, well, a little bit more delay, honestly, sort of, we're going to go over the sheet. Let's see. We, of course, are going to take things slow, and we're going to go over the sheet. Both those things. So, where to begin? Of course, we have a bunch of equipment, a kit of survival, weapons, our hover bike. We do need to rest at some point to regain our energy points and heroic surge and all that. Here we are. So yeah, we're going to have to rest at some point. I also messed up our sheet. Not really messed up. So, as you may know, very quick tangent, I'm always working on Galactic Requiem constantly. Like, genuinely constantly. But basically, we update things, change the way things work, just to slight degrees. And here, we of course have the feat Hot-Blooded. It's a specific class of feat called a favored feat. You can only have one. Usually there are some that have specific sub-rules. But basically, one of the things we do for formatting nowadays is, I'm going to quickly edit it just so it's up to date. The feat works. It's not like we've changed the feat or anything, but we've changed how it's listed in the file because it grants you a certain amount of activations, basically. It gives you action dice when certain things happen, but it only gives you a certain amount of action die. And unfortunately, fortunately, we updated it so it's listed better, but unfortunately, this sheet's slightly before that update, so we have to just quickly, assuming it loads. It's not like we have to, but I'd like to have it there because it will help. So I just need to quickly wait for the player handbook to load. Assuming I can find the player handbook. Here we are. Player basics. Favorite feats. Here we go. Because I forget how many hot-blood it gives us. Number of bonus action die equal to quadruple the base, or, times 4, your base capacity, assuming we don't have a world modifier active, which we don't, so 4 times our base capacity. Our base capacity of action die is 2. So 8 out of 8. Now, while it says 8 out of 8, that's like bonus action die, technically. However, the rules for favored feats specifically say they activate under certain circumstances and they get you basically bonus action die. For instance, Hot-Blooded, the one we have, is at the beginning of each combat, you gain 2 bonus action die. If the situation worsens, you gain 2 bonus action die. However, it has to be the situation worsens, as in enemy support or reinforcements arrive, an ally takes a critical wound, not yourself. There's a specific feat that if you take damage, you gain action die. Hot-blooded is specifically better than the other ones. Like Adrenaline Junkie gives you one action die if you take damage. You get one action die every time you take damage. Hot-blooded is a bit better because it gives you quadruple capacity, not double. But if your allies take damage or enemy reinforcements come and so forth, but also at the beginning of battle, not each turn, each specific battle. Basically, if you get in a combat and then like less than a minute later you get another combat, it counts as one combat and you don't gain the additional die unless the situation worsens specifically. So if things get far worse for you, you get your action die. You may, however, give one teammate an action die. However, you may not do that multiple times, and at the end of combat, your bonus action die are lost. Adrenaline Junkie, you just get it anytime you take damage, every single time you take damage. And it's not just if somebody attacks you. Like if you take falling damage, just anytime, basically anytime you take damage, you gain that action die. It doesn't have to even be in combat. And it lasts until basically the end of the entire encounter thing. So it's not like, oh, the combat's over, it's gone. You get to keep it for a while longer than you do with Hot-Blooded. And then like Bloodthirsty is every time you do damage, you gain an action die. If it's melee damage, you gain 2 action die. And it also ends at the end of the scene, not the combat. And so the other ones have like a little bit less capacity. You gain technically less action die per thing, but you gain them more often because the other one is every single time. Of course, there's combat aversion, which is for non-combat characters, gives you a penalty to combat, but it basically allows you to go, where is it? You take a penalty to combat, you can't use action die on combat. Specifically, you can use action die in combat, but not on combat, to boost damage rolls or to harm an opponent in any way using the action die. However, you may spend, when you have 0 action die, you may spend a full round to immediately gain an action die. Also, combat aversion allows you to take this with the feat Love of Skill, which is or Favored Skill, which is another favored feat. Basically, anytime you use a skill, where is it? No, Love of Skill, yeah. Which is anytime you use the listed skill, you gain another action die, up to double capacity. So you can just basically gain a bunch of additional action die every time you use a skill. And then favored skill is just a +1 on skill checks when you use that favored skill. Wait, sorry, I got that wrong. When you roll an action die, you get a +1 on that action die roll, basically, for the favored skill. And those ones, like favored skill, love of skill, and combat aversion, are the only ones that can be taken like together. So technically, you can take like all 3 of those, I believe. While the other ones, you can only take one within your whichever one you choose. So they each have benefits and drawbacks like that. Anyway, we're sort of rambling. That's unfortunate. But we are sort of explaining how that works. So, let's actually get to the gameplay. As stated, you'll learn all this needs to rest at some point. So we can get back all those points. Well, not points, but like our action die and our casting energy and all that. Also, we need to train. Speaking of training, let's take one more tangent. It is important. What physical feat are we going to train? Because the way feats and skills work in Galactic Requiem is, of course, you gain them when you level, but you can also train them. We like I always say, we simulate a world, and you don't like, wow, I've been practicing this thing, yet I don't get this feat, doesn't make sense. You can train feats. You can have technically as many feats as you want because you can train them. You can also have a lot of skill. There is a loose soft cap, technically, but you can just train skills too. They're harder to train though. And of course, there's still the level cap, but that goes into levels and why I don't like them, and I've been over that before. So, what physical feat do we want to train? So, you can train one mental feat and one physical feat at a time. The mental feat we're training is cast energy reserves, which will give us a bunch more energy points for casting. But we also have to choose. Well, don't have to. You don't have to train, but I want to train a physical feat. So, you know. Also, the majority of skill training counts as well. Not that's not even true. Technically, most of them count as mental. While admittedly, a few skills count as physical, like acrobatics and athletics count as physical trainings, technically speaking, because, athletics and acrobatics. I mean, So, let's see. What physical feat did we want to train? Not did we, but, like, do we? We have heavy armor proficiency. I don't think we're going to buy powered armor anytime soon. We have starship operation for if we ever get a starship. We can use melee weapons with archaic. We have accuracy, which is real nice. Controlled burst, quick reload. We have point blank shot. We could train martial arts. Hmm. If we train martial arts, what happens is we wouldn't train individual feats. We train martial arts moves, maneuvers training, which would basically give us 3 martial arts maneuvers. The way that works that way is because there are like 50 martial arts feats, and we believe that like it's reasonable that like every time you train it, you should get like 3. Technically, you could choose to train one at a time, but we believe like if you train it, you should get like 3 at a time because they are good bonuses, but they are melee bonuses, But it's also like things you could theoretically train relatively easily. It's not like something like you have to dedicate training to. You do have to dedicate training, but like, you can probably train 3 moves at a time at least. So we have it like that. Also, every time you actually train a style, you gain 3 additional moves. So you could train multiple styles, but the feats you can choose, and what you get with them focus on the style, and you can only train one style once. So I suppose you could train multiple styles, but then you don't get a lot of benefits for like specializing in that style. But you could just train a lot of styles. Let's see. I don't think we're going to train more martial arts. Maybe we will. I mean, to be fair, with coordination standard martial arts, our character is competent in melee combat. We don't take penalties or all that engaging in unarmed combat. I believe we also specialize because it's coordination standard martial arts. I'd have to double check, but I believe we specialize in like all the standards: punches, kicks, grapples, blocks, etc. I believe because it's not weapons martial arts; it's standard. So I believe we expect it. So standard specializes in all the standard stuff, but it doesn't have any special bonuses like increasing damage dice of like weapons and so forth. Which is fun about weapon martial arts because it increase your damage die and all that. And allows you to take weapon moves, of course. We can't really take weapon moves with training. With coordination standard martial arts, we can't really take weapon moves because it's not a weapon-based martial art. I mean, technically we could, but what would happen is we would indeed have to train them one at a time because it's not falling under the maneuvers for that martial art training. So we would have to train it like one at a time. It's not like we couldn't take them, but it's not like a part of the martial arts. So you don't do the thing where you get like 3-for-1 training. But as standard martial arts, like any very basic like thing that falls under standard martial arts, coordination standard martial arts, that is, we can train 3 at a time. Let's see. So, from there, let's figure this out. We probably want better shoot ability. I mean, I would train casting, but we are already training casting, and all casting training is mental. So, we can't really train any more casting than we are. At least till those 27 days tick over to 56, then we can train another mental. We could go with a feat that is mental, or of course we could train a physical feat right now, but like, you get the point. So, we don't really need armor training. We have melee, the base melee. Let me open my book real fast. Let's go over to quick combat charts. What can't we do? Or what can we do with penalty? Technically, you can do most of the stuff just with severe penalty. We could increase our bursts, but I'm not really a burst-focused kind of user. They have benefits. We could train area fire to be a bit better, but I also don't use that. To be fair, area fire is not bad. We edited how it works. Area fire in base like D20 modern is terrible. Ish. Sort of. We edited it so it's less terrible. It's actually pretty good because it's almost a guaranteed damage if the enemy's not in cover. If they're in cover, there's a chance they have they have cover. It increases their thing and gives them a chance to not take any damage. But like if they're in the open, area fire will almost always hit the target and almost always do like half damage. Usually, armor has things that can make that negated, as can cover and all that. But I mean, if somebody's spraying rounds in an area and you're in the open, you're going to at least take half damage, you know? And there's a lot of things that make it actually super good. A little bit of a tangent, but like, so with area fire, if you go like area fire, you can technically fire multiple times, technically speaking, which is real good because you'll do a lot of chip, but it takes a lot of ammo. There's a series of feats you can take that are like increase where is it? So every second burst of area fire is a -10 to hit. With advanced firearm proficiency, it becomes a -8, and with greater advanced firearm proficiency, it becomes a -5. And then with auto fire economy, it takes 5 rounds per burst instead of 10. So like it's a really theoretically good thing because you're getting a lot of utility out of it, but it's a number of feats to get, and you're technically probably going to do less damage than if you get a direct hit. Like, let's assume you have armor. Let's say you do hit them because it's really likely to hit, but they have armor. You're going to do half damage and then minus their armor, as opposed if you just fire normally, you're going to get full damage. And area fire does standard damage. It does like standard, so it's not like you're getting any bonus. Well, let's say you burst. If you burst fire, specifically not standard burst, there's many bursts. We have too many bursts. We should rename them. It's not really too many bursts. We should just rename them mostly. A burst, a special burst, basically, you can get like +2 to hit and +4 damage. With the feat, you're looking at +3 to hit, +5 damage for 20 bullets. So you're looking at more damage than if you were to, and a bonus to hit, than if you were to area fire. And you can do it twice. Of course, that's with a -5, but like, it's like that. Well, if you do a burst, a type 2 burst, a burst like not a burst to hit or a burst to damage or a special burst, but a normal burst, basically you increase your damage die by 1 or 2, whether you're doing a double tap or a burst, in which case it's better at penetrating armor, technically speaking. So there's utility to each one, really depends on what you want. There's also, like multi-shot and rapid shot, which are useful. You take a penalty to hit, but you get a lot of shots at full damage. For instance, an automatic weapon you can choose, you don't need a feat for this. You don't technically need a feat for any of the listed things. You just take penalties, or you get a lesser bonus. But for instance, with an automatic weapon, if you're firing auto with it, well, not fully auto, but like you're firing somewhat rapid with it, you can get like 3 shots at -6. Standard, no feats. 3 shots at -6. Or if you have rapid shot, you could take 4 shots at -8. You can swap these between any target. Multi-shot is like 3 shots at -4 if you have the multi-shot feat. And if you have both multi-shot and rapid shot, you're looking at 4 shots at -6, etc., etc. Slower fire weapons are like 2 shots at -4, rapid shot 3 shots at -6, multi-shot 2 shots at -2, or both 3 shots at -4, and then standard weapons, which are like single action revolvers, lever action, pump action, and bolt action can fire standard, which is like 2 shots at -6, 3 shots at -8 with rapid shot, 2 shots at -4 with multi-shot, or with both 3 shots at -6. So like, it's the same as a double action or an auto-loader weapon, but with worse bonuses because you have to manually do it, which would throw off your aim slightly. I mean, not only do you have to recoil, but you need to, like activate the mechanism of the weapon, either pump the weapon or pull back the thing, uh, pull back the hammer, or, you know, use the bolt, etc., which basically theoretically throws off your aim a bit more, including, I mean, there's the recoil and that. So it's a little bit slower to fire too. So it's a bit slightly bigger penalty, even though it's the same number of shots as a other weapon. And of course, there's suppressive fire and cover fire, which are very useful. Anyway, the real question is, are there any of these we actually want? Or should we train something? Well, it has to be physical. Hmm. If it has to be physical, that doesn't obviously preclude other feats. We could take, like I mentioned, martial arts feats. We could take melee stuff, but I don't really want to. What are some of the ones that we have here. Hmm. We could take lay down fire and increase our suppressive and cover fire. How many ranks in search do we have? 1. So we're not taking that. Not so. What happened there is I was looking at one of our feats, marksmanship training. Not a bad feat by any means, but it allows you to use up to half your search skill to offset range attack penalties. However, it requires a search of 5 ranks. So, not something we can actually take right now. We can take marksman aim, which increases our aim and brace bonuses from +1 to +2 for aiming, and +2 to +3 for bracing. We could take reactive shooter and then move to high ready, which will allow us to breach rooms a lot better. Basically allowing us to act in the surprise round, even with a long arm. This reactive shooter allows you to do that with a medium or smaller ranged weapon, which I believe, I'm not sure if that's been updated or not, given our new weapon size system. But basically, it should theoretically work with SMGs, maybe some carbines, etc., until you upgrade it. But we use big weapons, not like heavy machine guns, but assault rifles and the like. Well, we have a laser assault rifle, but it is a laser assault rifle, right? Yeah, targets limited laser rifle. An automatic laser rifle. Not bad. 40 round cells. A bit expensive. But 40 round extremely useful. This allows you to do two 20 round bursts, while a 30 round lets you do a 20 round burst and a 10 round burst. To be fair, it's not like the benefits from the number of rounds is vast. I mean, it is a bonus. Don't get me wrong. Let me put it this way: a 10 round burst, you're only using 10 rounds, and you get a. That's not right. Did something get messed up, or is that right? Um, huh. Sorry, I'm sidetracked with something number-wise being not what I expect, which is weird because this is specifically something I wrote rules wise. I mean, I extended numbers from a different thing, but I decided the end numbers of these, and it's like plus zero, I guess, instead of plus one. That might be right. No, it's rightish. Yeah, it's fine. So there's a large benefit for a 20 round burst because it's a +2 to hit base, while a 10 round burst is a +0 to hit base, but it does +3 damage, while 20 round burst is +4 damage. So those 10 extra rounds give you a -2 to hit, but a -1 damage. However, of course, if you get the feat that increases it by 1, it's a +1 to hit, +4 damage, versus a +3 to hit, +5 damage, while the burst to hit is a +4 to hit with the feat versus a +6, +2 versus a +3. Anyway, and of course, there is a step larger. I was always wondering, like, if I should go more steps. We can, the way it's formatted, we can have more steps. I suppose we could do like a 50 round burst. That would be the only real, like, step if I think about it. So currently, technically, there is an option for a 100 round burst. It is, of course, for automatic ×2 weapons only. Automatic ×2 weapons can do 100 round bursts, which is a +10 to hit, +3 damage, or a +11 to hit, +4 damage, with a burst to hit, and a +7 to hit, +5 damage, or a +8 to hit, +6 damage, with a burst to damage. All that might sound a little bit confusing. Luckily, the rulebook has a little nifty chart that explains it all. So it's like, yeah, it may sound a little complicated or hard to keep track of, but really you just click on the tab section that says quick combat charts, bursts, and, you know, like, just look at the little burst section. Quick combat chart basically has little charts for everything you can do in combat, you know? So it's like, and you have it like listed, so you just click on the section, it pops right up. But it's like, okay, so yeah, I want to burst and get this benefit and all that. Anyway, 100 round bursts are usually used by, like, you know, automatic ×2 weapons. So, like I said, I suppose we could have like a 50 round, but we don't really need it. You know, starting, I was like, let's make progress. I'm going to focus on making progress heavily. And it turns out, I mean, this is somewhat important. It is character maintenance and all that. So, you know, important, but still not what I wanted to do. Hmm. What feat do we want to train? Combat utility? Quick draw? You can't really take improved accuracy yet. We could go dodge, then mobility. So the problem is that it's not really a problem, but like training takes time. So it's important to choose relatively soon before days pass. But also, once you start, you can technically swap training, but you lose your progress. Like, we don't let you keep your progress. You can train one thing at a time. And so I want to make the right choice. You know? I'm not really a commander, so command feats aren't really for us. We can, of course, take them, but nah. Stealth? You can take stealth attack. Do we have sneak? Probably don't. We're not really a stealth character. We don't have sneak, so we couldn't even begin stealth stuff. Misc utility? We can't really train zero-G training as much as I would want to. I love taking zero-G training. We have acrobatics, right? Yeah, so we could start zero-G training, but we couldn't actually advance it in any way, shape, or form. Because crazy enough, you actually need the material to train to train. And so to train zero-G training, you either need to be in zero-G or you need simulated zero-G. We could train run just for the hell of it. No, what's that one? There's one feat that's like run, but different. Where is it? What would I put that under? Combat utility? Yeah, combat utility. Combat mobility. You may withdraw as a half action, but only move up to your speed. When taking a total defense, you can move twice your speed as a standard move. When taking a run action, you may make a number of turns equal to your dexterity modifier, minimum 1. None of these turns may exceed 90 degrees, of course. Which gives you more utility to run, and a bunch of other benefits. If you don't have combat mobility, we'll take that. Let's see. We don't appear to have it. We'll train that. As it is a simple physical feat, it will take 28 days to train. Different feats take different amounts of time. Usually, mental feats take 2 months, or about 56 days. Normal, like physical, simple feats usually take 28 days to train. However, there are ways to go faster. There are some feats that are super advanced that take 3 or even 4 months to train, but those are rare. Those are like complex, rare feats that are like, I want to understand super science, which is one of the skills. I want to train super science skill, which is a mental feat, and it's cutting edge stuff, so it would be even longer than the standard mental feat of like 56. So things like that take longer to train because they're much more complex. Of course, trainers can decrease that time. You can also buy skill training just download that into your brain if you have a neural data pad. Who doesn't, though? You have a neural data pad, dear viewer, right? Probably not, Elysians. But, yeah, computer in your brain, you can download that training instantly. It just costs a lot. Or you can go to somebody who's skilled and skilled as a trainer. There's actually a fee to be a skilled trainer. And that can decrease the time up to, like, I believe, a fourth, meaning you can theoretically train a feat in a week with like an elite trainer, if I remember correctly. So like instantly with a skill download, but it costs copious amounts of money. A week for like a 28 days is divided by 4, so a week for a elite trainer for like a physical thing, but like that's also relatively expensive. You also, as stated, need the material. So while some feats are technically like free-ish to train, not all of them are. For instance, armor proficiency. In order to train armor proficiency, you need to have the type of armor you want to train with. So if you have a set of light armor, you can train light armor proficiency. If you don't, you're gonna have a real hard time doing that. But like, so, if you have light armor, that's free to train with. Otherwise, you'd have to buy it, so it's not technically free. But let's be fair, you can buy the shittiest light armor possible and train with that. So like, like theoretically like 50 to 100 credits, you know? It's like $50 to $100 equivalent. So, like cheap, especially when you consider that, well, the economy, let's, I will resist the urge to go off on tangents about the galactic economy. But let's just say, corporations, yeah. Given our recent news video and our little sponsor segment, I should point out, if you do want armor, Point Combat Templates. Point Combat Templates sells the best modular armor and equipment you can possibly find. If you want something modular, Point Combat Templates. Hey, you already have a set of armor? How about you modify that with one of the modification packages sold by Point Combat Templates? Point Combat Templates packages that modify gear are compatible with most standard corporate armors and equipment. They Point Combat Templates pays us a lot of Galactic Standard credits. But I'll be honest, it's not like we need the credits. I'm an Imperial Lord. I like the way nations work. I mean, sorry, tangent time. The way nations work, technically, as the ruler, as the sole ruler of a nation, with no, well, let's be honest. Technically, our nation, the Empire, well, specifically my personal subsect of the Empire, I of course am a vassal lord. My little kingdom is fully under my control. Absolutely 100% under my control. Of course, under the benevolent allowance of the lord that I serve, which is, you know, so basically, basically, in short, without going off on too much of a tangent, nation rules say I can technically, at any time, withdraw as much money from the treasury as possible. Well, as we have available, which is a lot. it is calculated in single credit units. One credit unit is 10 billion galactic standard credits. Technically, I can withdraw that. I can withdraw as many credit units as I want, but every single credit unit I withdraw has a penalty, a loyalty penalty. So if I were to withdraw an entire like monthly earnings to my personal account, what immediately happens is my nation goes into basically immediate revolt instantly, except for the military. Well, no, sort of. What are the rules on that? I don't believe the military can go into revolt. Normally, militaries can, but because of how we build our faction, not just our faction, but like government types, you know? Our government type basically has a rule that says it's basically impossible for the authoritarian party or the military party to rebel at all, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Like, it's not like impossible to be technical if we're being like, technical. There's specific phrasing as to how it works. Let's see. Nope, they can rebel. Here we are. It's specifically, okay, yeah. They can rebel if I do that, and likely will instantly because of the amount of loyalty penalty applied. Of course, the rebellion would be considered, you know, that's a iffy subject. In a sense of, as the Lord, technically, the people would be mad, and I would be loosely in breach of, like, social things, social repercussions, sort of. Also, I would get in trouble with my lord, not only from the social faux pas that would be doing so, but because I'm contractually obligated as a vassal to give 10 to 20% of all my earnings to my lord. Be that as military units or as money. But I'm contractually obligated to give 10 to 20%, usually 10%. I believe, no, with the Empire, I think it might be 20. I forget, I'd have to double check. But in short, if I were to withdraw the money and not give that percent to my lord, I would be in breach of, because it would still be earnings. So, yeah. But in short, I was slightly wrong, which is why you should quote me on things. If you use the ability Crackdown on Dissent for a +5 on loyalty checks, you can use an ability of Dictatorship is to use Crackdown on Dissent for a +5 on loyalty checks, but if the check roll is a 1, rebels immediately form in the group that rolled a 1. However, authoritarians and military do not rebel on 1. Only specifically, however, for that ability. So they would theoretically still gain loyalty penalties, likely stated in a sense of that I'm sabotaging the imperial government, and then immediately they would contact other lords, probably the lord I serve. But it's a risky business. Let's be honest, it's a risky business for them. Because if the Lord I serve views me in the right, well then they're traitors to the Empire. And traitors to the, well, treason is answered with death. And or, you know, permanent imprisonment. In which case we send them off to a prison colony. We actually don't have any of those here. Yeah, we don't have any of those. Not that we don't have prisons. I mean, like, my little 3 star systems don't contain any worlds that are prison colonies. Of course, there's normal prisons, but I mean, like, dedicated worlds. We don't got any of those. Some larger lords do. If you're wondering what the benefits, by the way, of a prison world are, mostly economic. Mostly economic. Assuming you run it right. And all, as per the nation rules of prisons. Let's see. Nation rules prisons. Nations. Nations. Here we are. National structures. Terraforming prisons. Large-scale prisons increase loyalty maintenance checks by 1, unless you mess up. So by dedicating a world to prisons, theoretically, you can send everybody who disagrees with you there. And then nobody disagrees with you, you know? And if nobody disagrees with you, your loyalty is high. Except for on that one world. Of course, the prison world's loyalty is low, but why do you care? It's a prison world, you know? You don't need to care about their loyalty. What, are they going to rebel? Sure. Let them rebel with their lack of starships. Of course, don't, like, make a poor choice and be like, we're going to produce valuable things on the prison world that we can't do without. That would be a poor choice. Of course, you want them to be happy. Let's be honest, loyalty's good. And we say prison world, but let's be honest, be smart. We are, of course, I mean, I'll admit, the galaxy views us as evil, the Empire, that is. But just because it's a prison world doesn't. I know what you're thinking. I know the picture in your head when I say prison world. And when I say send the people you don't like that. I know what you're thinking. Don't. Don't think that. Think this. And this isn't propaganda. This is just life advice for any of you who want to run anything with an iron fist. Make your prison world nice. It doesn't need to be bad. It can have nice things. Give them a reasonable quality of life. Make sure they don't have a reason to complain. Okay, hear me out. Let me explain. Sure, you don't like them. They're against your government or something. Sure, sure, they're against your government. And you don't like them and you don't want them spreading things. Send them off over there. Okay? They're over there now. Now here's what you do. You let them have nice things. Not the best things, just nice things. Let them do their own thing. Sure, have them contribute. Take your tribute from them. Not a lot, a reasonable amount. No more, maybe just a little more than you would your normal populace. Maybe just a little more than you would your normal populace. Not a lot. Let them have good living standards. Now, they're over there with their decent living standards. Let them have a little bit of their own governance. You know what I mean? Just a little bit. Watch them. I'm not saying don't watch them. Make sure they're not producing weapons. Make sure they're not producing the ability to rebel. Okay? Make sure they're not producing the ability to rebel. But give them a reasonable set of stuff. Then they have less of a reason to complain. They have their own world over there. They can have a few, a few of their own laws. I mean, if they're like, well, this law is a bit too harsh, let them have a little bit of their own laws. Not entirely. Monitor them, but let them have a little bit of their own law. They have less reason to complain. Maybe they're a little bit happier. You know? Maybe they're a little bit happier. Less reason to rebel. Eh? But I mean, don't let them to their own devices. It is a prison world. You watch them carefully, but you don't take hostile action against them unless they're becoming a threat, And thus you increase overall loyalty, not only of the entire nation, because all the people who'd be rebelling are not in the nation sowing dissent, but they're a little bit happy over there too. Of course, I mean, they won't necessarily always be happy, but there's the option for them to be happy. Some of them won't be too happy that they're being taken from their homes and sent to a prison world, but over time, they'll get over it. Hopefully. I mean, there's always option B if the prison world gets too rowdy. I mean, of course, don't let them have starships. But, because they don't have starships, if they get a bit uppity, there's nothing that a little bit of orbital bombardment can't solve. And then, well, the problem solves itself because you're not hurting your own infrastructure. You're hurting the prison world's infrastructure. You don't care too much about the prison world. And well, they're upset. Your primary people aren't because you're not like, you're not, if you're suppressing the prison world, you're not cracking down on your main world. If you're not cracking down on your main world, the people on your main world don't see the crackdown. They're a bit happier as long as they don't know what's happening. Of course, in the Empire, we do raise our citizens with the understanding that certain sacrifices are necessary and that loyalty to the Empire is key. So, it's not like our citizens care if we say, yeah, they were traitors. Our citizens would understand for the most part. That's the benefit of imperial culture. We understand that all who are not empire, well, they're not empire. And so imperial laws don't apply. Of course, imperial citizens have rights and all that. Even rights that lords can't infringe upon. Unless I mean, technically even criminals have rights in the empire, as long as they're citizens. Non-imperial citizens don't, but, like, even prisoners technically have rights. Unless, like, the crimes, execution. Enough about nation running and imperial governance. Wow. We really have gone off on a tangent here. Unfortunate. As I think I said, started today going to myself saying, I am not going to tangent. We are going to make progress. Yet here we are. Yet here we are. Having a tangent. We've had a tangent for over an hour now. Let's see. Let's see. So we have our feet that we're going to train. Very good. Like I said, or like I say for the most part, I can ramble and talk and cover Galactic Requiem indefinitely. I mean, of course, we did a broad overview there. We could go into this. We're not going to, but we could go into the complexities of the imperial legal system, the classes of citizen from 1 to 5, the different lords, how each lord handles it, how I personally handle such things, all that. But I think it's time we actually get to rolling dice or something. Let's save tangents for World Building Wednesday. How about that? So, we have the feat we're going to train. We are... Oh, no. Whoops. I mean, look at that. One more time. Combat mobility. Okay, so we can train that with nothing. We need nothing to train that. Except for, like time to run around in circles. Well, it's a bit more than running around in circles, but you get my point. So, having arrived at the district, the shopping district, asking around, basically not being able to find much equipment-wise due to our inability to talk to people. Let's do some brief world-building gameplay. Not world-building, but world-building gameplay. Meaning we're just going to have a bit of a slower day. We're not going to well, I don't know. I'll be honest. I'm not going to cover how it works, but basically anything can happen because bot. Simple as that. We'll just leave it at that. Anything can happen because dice and bot and interpretation. But we'll try, I expect that it's going to be slow. Let's see. So, Yulian, all this not making much progress in the shopping district, I suppose we'll go to the convenience store. Why not? Making her way through the shopping district, she will approach the convenience store. Entering, she will take a look around. What do we see? Don't worry, that's a rhetorical question. For the bot. So, open my descriptor page. 7. Nicely. Here we are. Nicely. Flawless. Nicely flawless. How do we interpret that? Well, I mean, I know how I'm going to interpret that, but basically, Upon entering the convenience store, despite being in a somewhat run-down area of the city, a gang-controlled, slightly run-down area of the city, the shelves and the the place, the convenience store, is clean and brightly lit. A little robot, a little not a sentient bot, of course, more like a Roomba sort of robot thing, moves around the store, cleaning and making sure everything is basically displayed flawlessly. The rows of goods are packed full, not a single thing missing from any of the aisles. Everything is neatly arranged and placed by product type and color, and all basically pristine. As you ran all the centers. Looking at the displays, you then all this will give a glance towards the shopkeeper as she enters. The shopkeeper just sits back looking at a newspaper. I say newspaper, let's be honest, it's more a data sheet. Specifically, it's like a paper, sort of. It's a fake paper, let's be technical. It's a screen display, if you want to be very technical. A fold-out screen display that you can use as a TV, hang, carry around with you. The best way to describe it, honestly, I suppose we can describe what this thing is for you, people who don't know Galactic Requiem. If you've ever seen the clear, like, projector slides, old-timey clear projector slides, sort of like that. There is, of course, it is, of course, about the size of two sheets of paper next to each other. If you were to lay two sheets of paper next to each other, that's about the size of it. It is clear, transparent-ish, well, when it's deactivated. In the bottom right of the device is a little input. If you want to be technical, it looks like a little square about, do I have a thing with me? It's about like an inch by a half inch, if I recall. Basically, a little bit in the bottom right of the sheet that acts as the transmitter, if you want to be technical, and receiver. It is, of course, well, it connects to a datapad specifically. Now, some people don't like having, well, I mean, cultures and all that. But, for instance, I mean, if you want to be technical, when I say like people like different displays, it's really just a style thing, to be honest. Like, for instance, I have a neural datapad. You wouldn't necessarily be able to tell if somebody had a neural datapad. It's just a computer in your brain. I, however, personally have a, well, as you can see, over my left eye, right here, have a holographic display. It basically is connected to my, well, it's an augment of my eye, if you want to be technical. It displays a hologram for the most part, but it is connected to my neural datapad. Hence, I can have a little visual display that I can display to others, or I can actually see the image. I mean, of course, a neural datapad can display an image directly into your brain, but like my personal one, like as you can see, is visible. It doesn't have to be. I don't have to display it. It doesn't have to be visible, but I just personally like mine visible because it's just a style thing. Lots of people have different styles and cultures and all that throughout the galaxy. Some people like actually using newspaper. Juliana Aldis, the character we follow around currently, the mercenary we follow, likes buying paperback books. It's just, you know, people like things. And there's an infinite amount, well, not really infinite, but like, Dyson swarms are a thing. There's so many people in the galaxy that you are very likely to find somebody with some niche subgenre of what they do. Anyway, it's the display basically is a flexible, transparent sheet, generally 2 papers wide, with a small inch by ½ inch section in the bottom right of the display that connects to a datapad. It then displays colors and anything on the screen. You can, of course, keep the background transparent, or you can, of course, change the background to be different colors and the like. So it doesn't have to be transparent, but like in its base off state, it's transparent like a projector slide. Anyway, the shopkeep is looking at this transparent thing, reading basically the news. Of course, these devices are neat. As stated, it's not like they only display that. You can display anything. The great thing about it is you can unobtrusively display to others. Not every datapad has a projector, Mine does. Not every datapad has a projector. So, especially neural datapads, normally, if you wanted to show somebody something, you would have to transmit it to them. They'd have to be on the net, and they'd have to accept your transmission. With a device like this, you can just hang it on the wall and display, and people can look at it without having to connect to the net, you know? Sort of like a TV screen. But yes, this person is not displaying it to everybody, it's just looking at a newspaper themselves. So, they don't really pay much attention as Yelena Aldous walks in. Yelena Aldous will look around the aisles. It's not the biggest store. Technically, it's not the store she's standing in on the screen right there. I believe the convenience store is... That's the mechanic. That's the shopping one. I believe it would be over here. Sorry, something's beeping at me. Here we are. So, basically, you and Aldous looking through the store will see a variety of goods, mostly foods and so forth. I believe she'll pick, passing by one of the aisles, heading down one of the aisles, she'll look at the display, several boxes of basically cereals, likely the most numerous brand, Crunchy Bits cereal. There's other brands, of course, but likely Crunchy Bits cereal. She's not going to get any, but she'll walk by, looking at the blue boxes, the red boxes, the different colored boxes of Crunchy Bits cereal. To her right, of course, let's see. The left is breakfast foods and cereals. To her right is likely more specific foods, more complex foods. By that I mean still breakfast, but like, how do I just explain? Sort of like prepackaged breakfast meals. You just heat them and yeah, but more meal-like, like sausage and eggs or etc. etc. She'll pass by that, head to a not one of those shelves, but one of those smaller, what do you call them? It's like a half stand with frozen stuff. She'll look through that real quickly, seeing, a bunch of frozen packaged meals. Not really what she wants. Of course. Hmm. Noodles. Steak. Steak and mashed potato entrees, that kind of thing. Frozen ribs. Nah. She'll leave the frozen section. Probably head over to, not breakfast, but like lunch type foods. And she'll just grab a bag of Crunchy Bits fruit. Why not? I can guarantee you, however, that the type of Crunchy Bits fruit she is getting is in fact not fruit. It does not contain a hint of real fruit. It's fruit flavored Crunchy Bits, of course. She'll probably get, let's see, random choice. For that, let's open our book of random choices. It's fun. Click here, search tabs. No, don't have that tab? Crazy. Shocking, even. Absolutely insane. We will open the book then. There's a specific book I want to use for this. It's one of the ones I use slightly less often, so I'm excited to use it. Let's see here. Where would I have put it? RPGs. There we are. Now we find the section. Here we go. Honestly, this is all just for fun. Okay. Some form of almost grassy, bright green, sort of alien fruit type. Well, I say alien. Alien to you. It's likely relatively common on this world, let's be honest. Sort of like almost lime colored, but a little bit darker. Sort of alien-ish fruit sort of thing flavor. She'll pick it up. Why not? That's really all she'll get, honestly. It's not like it's late, so she'll get that. Head over to the counter. Time for me to open another book. Where is it? Here we are. Let's go a little crazy. As she gets to the front counter, she will also grab a bottle of flavored water. Why not? Probably. Let's see. No, non-flavored. It will annoy me, but non-flavored. The reason it'll annoy me is because that means it'll be 4 credits, by the way, which is not an even number of credits. Well, I mean, it's technically an even number, but it's gonna be annoying. Here we are. How many credits do we have? Oh god. Okay. Time to annoy myself greatly. 900 minus 4. There we go. So yeah, normal water and some fruit flavored crunchy bits. Not really the best meal, I'll be honest. There are like normal foods and all that. It's not like this is all there is, but as we know, or as we might know, Julian Aldous doesn't eat the most healthy. Well, I say that, but crunchy bits aren't unhealthy. More so, Julian Aldous doesn't have the most reasonable of foods. And by that, I mean, let's see here. Assuming I don't click off the thing, which I did. Here we are. Flavored crunchy bits aren't unhealthy per se, but they're considered poor food quality. While higher quality, for instance, good quality would be like a restaurant meal, average quality is a fresh meal, common quality is a hearty frozen meal, below common quality is just a standard frozen meal, poor quality is a flavored crunchy bits, and poorest quality is just crunchy bits or just water, while poor quality drink is just like flavored water, which we skip. We got the poorest quality drink. I mean, like, as you can see, water's not unhealthy for you. Quality isn't, like whether it's good for you or not. As you can see by water being poorest quality food, it means like tier of food fanciness, lifestyle type. Are you having fancy stuff? Is this impressive to others, etc., kind of thing? And of course, each quality has certain amounts of costs and money next to them. For instance, a fancy meal is like 100 credits. A high quality meal for 40 credits, 2 sides of 20 credits each. A fancy dessert worth about 20 credits, and a fancy drink worth 20 credits. Of course, you can get things worth more, etc. And that all plays into the reputation and contacts and social systems, etc. But I mean, like it's not unhealthy, and Yulan all this isn't really trying to impress anybody, so she just go with some flavored crunchy bits and water. I mean, she could go with non-flavored crunchy bits, but let's be honest, flavored crunchy bits taste better than non-flavored crunchy bits. That's just a fact. Like yeah, you can subsist, you can live off of crunchy bits and water, but you're really not enjoying things, are you? But yeah, this is what I say. This is what I mean when I say taking things slow. I like world building gameplay. Gameplay, but we're simply exploring the world. Of course, eventually we'll get back to gunfights and all that. Let's see. Okay. Having gotten the crunchy bits and water and spending 4 credits, annoyingly dropping our money to an just amount that's not even at all in any way whatsoever. Well, not, you know what I mean by that. I mean, ends in a nice like 00 or something. Now it's like numbers. she will, well, description wise, basically almost as fast as she gets to the counter to buy them and completes the purchase, the droid that moves around the store will replace the items basically the minute they are purchased. The replacement objects are slotted into the missing spaces, making it seem like the place is, well, it is, the shelves fully stocked once more. The person reading the newspaper won't even look up from the newspaper for the most part, as the items are automatically scanned and registered. Of course, um, you know that all this pays physically. So after the items are scanned and registered and the money's placed on the table, the cashier will eventually put down the paper and grab the credits and put them in the machine, press a few buttons. Everything else is digital, unless Yolanda Aldous wishes to ask specifically for like a receipt or something, which she's not going to do. She's a mercenary here, under like on a mission, literally, specifically stealth-ish. So she's not going to pay digitally, even though technically the Galactic Bank, for the most part, ensures to a degree anonymity with digital transactions, for the most part. So, Eulanoldus will leave the store, stepping back into the sort of worse lit, cluttered, rundown area outside of the store. Let's see. Is there anything of note going on? This is a question for the bot, of course. 24. Let's see. Let's open our bot. 24. Which is a total of 6. Which brings us into the negative. So, of course, there are things happening, but nothing that stands out. It's a normal day-ish. Nothing stands out. Let's see. And we're not looking for trouble, so it's not like we're adding the looking for trouble modifier. One thing we do have to roll, though, it's not required, but we'll roll chaos. No! There goes our dice. I'm gonna have to re-roll it. 7. No chaos. Okay. So, leaning against the wall, there's nothing out of the ordinary going on. People walking by, people entering, people leaving. This will just lean against the wall. Pop open the drink some water, close it, pop open the crunchy bits, have a few fruit-flavored crunchy bits, and then seal the bag, put them in her backpack. You know, nothing exceptional, before heading back on. Where does she want to go? Hmm. We're not limited to this map, by the way. Of course, as mentioned, we have a universe to theoretically go anywhere in, do anything in, start a business, become a bank robber, anything. But for the most part, well, we're half stuck here. The enemies know we exist. They know we have a target and we have a contract. So, we're stuck in the city, but this isn't just the city. The city is, as we described on our world building, 50 by 50 to 100 by 100 kilometers or so. So we have a lot more area around. We just simply have this much mapped because map only is really necessary. But we can go anywhere. We can take the train far off to other screens. You can map more of the city, do anything. But what? I feel half obligated to not mess around. Half obligated. Only because we're on contract. But you know what we're not on contract for? Well, we have an excuse to mess around. Objective is to get the target out of here. Recon and leads. Let's follow recon and leads. I'm going to quickly pop this up and we'll see what we have. Met Istol. Technically, there was some collateral damage, like loosely. No mystery, so that was fine. We did rescue the target. We did enter an unknown situation with little data. So we completed a turning point. I suppose we could generate another turning point. See what the bot says. I mean, the goal is to lay low, and it's not like we have to hit the turning point, but we might as well generate it. So let's open our AI call. Let's find the section that is for generating turning points, that'd be useful. Themes. Here we go. First theme, personal. Second theme, mystery. Wait, is that even right? Yes, it is. Okay. Third theme, action. Fourth theme, personal again. And last theme, of course, these themes could generate as nothing. It's not like we use all five. They can generate as nothing. Personal again, really. It's not like it's impossible. It's the third, so there's 8 or 9 it is generated, but it's just more likely to have mystery action. Of course, the last two are 10 because it alternates and they're the least likely. Now we generate the actual plot points. Here we are. First is personal. We got to open our AI core, go to the section that lets us generate plot points. Here we are. First is personal. None. We've generated none. See, that's what I'm talking about. Just because it is listed doesn't mean it's going to be generated. 1 second. Okay, here we are. Second one. Oh, I have to know what it is. Mystery. Here we go. This isn't working. Not the generator. That's what the brief thing for it is called for the mystery. And we've messed up. I sometimes forget that if I hit the keys I would normally use when working on a document, it doesn't work when I have this open. It works different. Action. Here we are. Crash. Personal. Prized possession. And last, personal. A character is diminished. Okay, it is, however, coffee time. I'm going to go quickly make a cup of coffee and we'll be right back to this. We return. There we are. So, basically, yeah, I mean, sometimes I prefer when things are a bit slower, like game-wise. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy combat. I enjoy every aspect of Galactic Requiem. The thing is, I mean, to me, I'll be honest, just small details. Like I said, small details. I love that kind of stuff. But, like, we will get into more action and all that at some point. We do have to escape the city, after all. This is a gang-controlled area of the city, and we have many contracts and ways to make money and all that. And the entire point is we're stuck here. And there will come a point in which we'll have to take action. 1 second. I say I return, but let's be honest. I'm in the middle of monitoring my conscripts making the coffee. Meaning, I'm just gonna walk over there, make sure they're doing it right. Then I'm gonna walk right back. Then I'm gonna go over there, make sure they're doing it right, and then walk right back again and again, like a couple of times. But I mean, I'm here. I'm right off screen, technically. You might have even been able to hear that, which is the pouring of coffee into a thing. I have to monitor the conscripts as they do that. There's a reason for that. The reason being we used to have a machine. Those of you who were here before might remember we had a machine. Unfortunately, the conscripts broke it. I believe we fixed it at one point. They broke it again, so we have to have them do it manually using a little device, sieve thing. I don't know what the word is. It's a filter, basically a filter. But I mean, as we talked about the other day, they're conscripts. If you think they can't break a filter, you're wrong. They can somehow. They'll find a way. That's what they do. I mean, to be fair, it really makes military conscripts useful in the field against the enemy. They'll break the enemy's stuff. Don't worry. They'll break the enemy's stuff. Problem is they'll also break our stuff. You know? Anyway. Trust me, I know. I used to be a conscript. I broke many a thing. I was just lucky enough to become a lord. So, you know, let's see. We need to define these statements. So, please, please, thank you. I was worried there for a second that that key would break things like the other one. Luckily it didn't. This isn't working. Once more, not the anything here. That's the title. This isn't working. Something that is supposed to be working is not working for some reason, causing a problem. Okay. What else is there? crash. I know what this one is, but we'll look it up anyway, just for the sake of it. Crash, in this turning point, involves a vehicle carrying a character to crash or threaten to crash. Characters can/must mitigate the damage of the crash or prevent the crash, etc., etc. Find a place to survive or the crash. The vehicle can be anything from a plane to a car to a snow sled to a starship. Basically anything. Anything that can transport a character, and it crashing would be dangerous. Something's going to crash. Okay, don't really need to take note of what that means. I know, for the most part, what crashing means. Prized possession. What does it want with that turning point? That I don't know. Whatever's happening at this turning point, it involves an important possession of a character. For instance, if the turning point is about something being stolen, maybe a sorcerer's magic staff is taken, basically. Oh, so we have an idea. A character's prized possession is going to crash. A character is diminished. Okay, what's this one mean? Yep. It doesn't have to be our characters. It can be any character in the plot for the most part, technically. It can be non-plot characters who are new and giving us quests and all that. The character is diminished. I have to look that one up now. Here we go. Nope. The character is reduced in some way that makes them less effective. Perhaps they are wounded, the energy is low, they lose some authority, etc. The character is not entirely powerless, but loses a significant portion of their utility. Okay? Okay, I will be right back. Less than a second. Whoosh. Okay. What? No. Whoops. Hello. That was weird. We lost half audio for a second. At least on my end. I'm not sure about yours, but I had only half audio there for a second. So, yes. Now we know what those points mean. I already have an immediate idea. Of course, this is to be interpreted as we go, but I have an idea. If something is going to crash, something is not working how it's supposed to, and a prized possession, as unfortunate as it sounds, it's starting to look a lot like our hover bike is in trouble. Yeah, and the character is diminished. It is looking very much like our hover bike is in trouble. Let's add note. We're going to note hoverbike because it doesn't happen instantly. It's a plot point to be activated. Our goal is to try and hit every point in the thing and to make sense of it plot-wise. Therefore, it is very likely, given everything we have there, personal being somebody's prized possession, personal being a character's diminished, action, crash, something's not working right, it looks very much like our hoverbike is in trouble. And we will take that into account, if that is even the answer. Anything could happen. Things could change. Things could pop up. It might mean something else. We'll have to just play the game and find out. Let's see here. Sorry, searching for the right tab here. Let's go back up to the character sheet. There we are. Even our allies are injured. And that we are not at top capacity. We have some food. Let's return to the base and honestly just rest and plan for a little bit. So it's going to be what? Just doing some math. One minute. 1.5 minutes. Basically, that's a 3-minute walk because well, it's a little bit more than 3-minute walk because, we went here, asked around, walked basically down the road over to here, here. So that's like a minute and a half plus like a couple of seconds, maybe another minute. So it's like 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes total because it's a minute and a half there and a minute and a half back. Okay, we go to this. Yes. Yelena Aldis will return. And probably just rest for a while. I mean, everybody's got a. He's not injured, but these two are. So let's actually do the rolls for that. Oh, these are in-game rolls. Give me a second. Like I said, here. Anything that's not a secondary chart or requires me to open 50 different files to get done. We do. Yeah. NPC healing roll, by the way. Can they take 10? That's an important question. Half a second. Because if they can take 10, it's going to be so much easier. Um, no, it's very specific. Is it? Sorry, checking rules. Is it a special feat ability for this class? I believe it is. Even in stress and distraction, prevent them. implying that you can if there isn't. But I need to double check. Yes, technically you can. You can't take 20 unless you're just trying to rouse somebody who's stunned or unconscious and the like. You can't do it on surgery. Wait, can you? Because that's technically not that is a treat. Maybe, possibly. We'll say yes. So that's going to be a D4 at first. Oh, I should probably roll it here, but it's too late. 1 plus 2 for a total of 3. My apologies. Bringing them up to 2. And why not? No, that's why not. We'll just wait a day. Long-term care, take 10. Easy. Okay, next person. Take 10. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Dropping them to 6. Meaning they'll heal to 4. So let's try for a surgery check. 18. Success. Because that's plus 5, 19, 20, 21, 23. So that is going to be 4 more health. Which drops them to 2, meaning tomorrow they will be healed. Because they'll rest and then gain 2. You and Aldous will go to the mess hall, not really talk to any of the gangsters. She'll read one of her 2 books, and she will finish off her food. Meaning that this goes, will take over a day. To do that, let's go over to here, open up the sheet. Okay. Resting a day means that Heroic Surge goes to 2. She will do a bit of caster practice, bringing that to 28. She'll run around a bit, giving that to 1. Having rested, that's supposed to take down, so that should be 6. This pops up to 7. That does not go up. Okay. I'm going to go and grab the coffee. Well, finish making sure it's done. I'll be right back. There we are. So, back to progress. Let me double check that. Got our mana, got our training, got our everything. Unfortunately, so far we've earned a total of like 1 XP. Maybe 2, honestly. It depends. Let's see. Where did I... There's the inventory. Probably could use recharging our lasers, but that's what we went to the place to find and couldn't find anything for that. Which was unfortunate. I also have AP loaded. Which I suppose we'll keep loaded, why not? Okay. Where do we want to go? What do we want to do as a new day arrives? Well, I suppose we should, since we're resting, we should pick up the healing, which means he's healed. He's healed. Third mercenary was not injured. There we go. Oh, let's use the gang. Where did I put the gang stats? So, theoretically, they have more than enough resource. That's like, what? A lot. 10's a lot. So, they can easily. We just need to succeed a check. We are going to ask the gang to give us ammo. Well, we're going to kindly ask. So, 3. No. The answer's no. So you then all this will basically head to the armory and be like, do you have any spare energy cells, perhaps? Well, that's not entirely true. It's not necessarily a no. Let's be honest. If they roll a 1, it's not likely. 3. Okay, maybe. Let's actually do a little bit of checking. What's their resist check? 3 plus what? I thought that they would roll literally anything but 3, or 2 or 1, so technically we're not out of it yet. Let's see. Where's our chart for NPC stats? It's still probably going to be a no, let's be honest. Because, well, you'll see. Here we are. Why is it still going to be a no? Because impress, 0. Influence, -1. Nope, that's the gang. Whoops. Impress, 0. Charisma, -1. Yes, same difference, but like at least the right character. So our total's 2, technically, and theirs is, it's their workers, so we have to go over to here. Resolve 4. Resolve 4 plus what? I mean, that's more than enough to show you that it's not working, but let's do the full work. Resist impress. In this case, it is wisdom. Total of 6. 6 plus 3. 9. So that is a 2 versus 9, because 5 minus 1. 2 versus 9 is a loss. However, actually, it's not even true. I mean, I know that mathematically that's true. What I mean is, do we have any bonuses? Which we could theoretically pull in using the law, society, influence, etc., sections. But it's probably not going to work. For that, we check our character. Wondering what we're checking? We're checking our influence section. Just look at that, we don't have an influence section. Actually, we do, it's right here. And the answer is we don't have influence over anything, and we don't have fame. We have 1 reputation, which might boost that by 1, which is nowhere near enough. Also, our contact is the mercs, not these guys, so we gain no benefit from that. We are working for them, well, the people they work for, so we can maybe get a +3. Which should give us a 5, maybe 6. Still not enough. Point is, they're not giving us even a few mags. They're like, get it yourself. You can pay. Which we might consider doing. Yeah, no, we'll pay. We'll pay them for the mags. I've got absolutely no problem with that. I mean, we were going to buy them out in the city anyway. So we might as well buy them from the game. I am annoyed. Not about that. I launched a program earlier, and it decided that it wanted to open at a different resolution than the display. And it decided it wanted to resize absolutely everything in existence to that resolution. So everything's messed up every time I open it for the first time. That's great. Let's see. Trying to open the items book. Once I open the items book, we'll be able to know how much things cost. Ammo. Here we are. Okay, so a 40-round standard laser cell. $10, $20, $30, $40. Half a second. We're doing this right. We're doing this absolutely right. Here we are. They are going to charge extra because reasons. So we're looking at a total of about 80 credits. After all the math is done for a standard mag. Dropping us there. And we get to go over to here. We get to remove. We'll put this to 11 cells. 0 empty. And we can't really do much with this cell. I suppose we could just fire off 15 rounds if we wanted, but that'd be a bit of a waste. We'll just keep it there. I mean, we'll probably unload the cell from the gun, but, I'm not going to get a new one. Well, we might as well. They're charging increased price. How much are we looking at, honestly? I can actually do that math real easy because it's a percentage increase. But how much of a percent? Once more, that's a rhetorical question. I have the numbers in front of me. I always have the numbers in front of me. Assuming I can do math right. That's the harder part. What's it say here? It's a double. It's -4 AC, -4 DR. Being both, we're looking at a increased cost of we return. Where was I? Oh yes, percentages. I have to open the file up. Here we are. 600%. 600%. 80. That's painful. 560 credits. Ammo prices really are bad. But again, these are military grade armor piercing lasers that'll punch right through medium combat armor. Well, lighter variants of medium combat armor, but it'll punch basically right through medium combat armor. Guaranteed. I mean, let's do the math. Well, let's not really do the math, but let's be quick with it. We're looking at DR5, maybe DR6. The weapon does an additional 4 armor pierce. So, decrease that by 4. The base damage of the weapon is going to be 2d something. 4 plus 2 is 6, meaning anything over minimum is going to pierce DR6. Anything at minimum is going to do 1 damage to DR5 medium armor. So as you see, it's not bad at all. And you're likely not going to roll average. No, I mean not lowest. You're not likely not going to roll lowest. You're going to roll average, which is going to be like 10. 10 means you're going to be doing like 8 damage, maybe 9. It's not even increasing the fact that we're likely going to burst, which is going to be adding like plus 5 damage, assuming we use 20 round burst. Point is, a lot of damage. 560. Do we want to spend that? Let's look at our sheet. Here we are. 5. Yes, we'll buy it. We'll buy it. It was 560, right? Let's double check. $560, yes. Giving us 256. 256. Okay, we can increase our AP cells 2, 4, 5, and 1 in the gun. At, like a bit less than half ammo. Of course, we'll unload it, but, you get the point. There we are. And our coffee should be ready. So give me another second. My apologies. Hello. We have it. We have the coffee. Unfortunately, I have been informed of things. Okay. So, back to work. Back to work. At least for a little while. I unfortunately have to go and attend to some imperial business eventually. Let's see. So, we have our laser ammo. Not bad. Not bad. Unfortunately, the cells aren't rechargeable. At least not with this brand. What brand do we have? Targets limited, yeah. Specifically not listed as the energy charging type, so. Unfortunately, we can't recharge the cell we have. Once more, corporations. You know who does sell? Compatible. rechargeable laser rifle energy cells. You're right. Targets limited for all. No, 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 no. Sorry. Point combat templates for all your. Please tell me I didn't say targets limited earlier. Oh no. No. Point combat templates. They are our sponsor, sort of, kind of. You need a laser. Well, any type of modification of any equipment you have, or the most modular equipment that you can customize how you want them. Point combat templates. But yeah, like I said, it's not like as Imperial Lord, it's not like I can't just take one credit unit and get like 10 billion Galactic Senate credits for like a -1 loyalty, which will go away almost instantly, you know? I'll just be like, hey, populace, double utilities. And they'll be like, double utilities? And, I'll be like, double utilities. And then I'd pocket 10 billion credits. But, like it's really it's about helping out the military industrial complex. And who better than Targets Limited? Hopefully they'll is that against Imperial law? I had an idea. Do you think we can get Targets Limited equipment like compatible with Imperial stuff? Is that an option we have? That's not like against the technology laws? I mean, if it's just like external modification, they'll look into it. But that would be neat. Getting a Targets Limited modifications to Imperial armor. Then we could have like some modular Imperial stuff. If it's not too illegal. Ooh, note this one down. How about like Imperial looking Targets Limited gear? Like not Imperial tech, just Targets Limited tech, but with the Imperial faceplate kind of look. Obviously slightly different. Like we don't want to confuse anyone. I mean, it's not going to be Imperial quality. Yeah. That one, probably more likely. They could probably get that done. So yeah, those of you in the galaxy, you can get, hopefully, if we can come to an arrangement with them. It's not illegal on the Imperial end, per se. It's a bit shady, but it's technically within law. Like, we can't put our name on it, Like, I'm not gonna be like, Basil did this, but, like, if Targets Limited agrees and perhaps produces some helmets in Imperial style, who's gonna complain? You in the galaxy can get your own Imperial looking Targets Limited helmet. If Targets Limited, I keep saying Targets Limited. Oh God, point combat templates will never work with me now. I mean, point combat templates, please, please. There are too many arms dealers. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're all great arms dealers. They're all great arms dealers. Um, Point combat templates. Sorry, I'm just so used to Targets Limited right now because literally we're talking about Targets Limited laser rifles. Targets Limited doesn't really do, well, they haven't, we don't have a deal with Targets Limited. We don't have a deal with them yet. But, yeah, no, Targets Limited mostly does weaponry, while Point Combat, I mean, they do more, but Point Combat template mostly focuses not only on weaponry, but modifications. Talks Limited doesn't really delve into modification. But I want point combat templates, Imperial helmets. Just, like not for the Empire, but we produce our equipment in-house, But for the galaxy, if point combat templates were to make those Imperial looking helmets, I might put a good word in with the Empire, make sure there's no problems, and for just a small cut of the credits. Wouldn't that be great? Hopefully. Hopefully I didn't blow the chances at this deal by mixing up arms dealers' names, Hopefully I didn't mess that up. I mean, they've worked together in the past before. They've also had wars with each other in the past. Like I'm not like talking about corporate wars. Yes, corporate wars all the time, but I'm talking like full on armies engaging each other. These are two of not the biggest, but we're talking top 10 galactic powers of corporations, top 10 galactic corporations. Like they have worlds upon worlds under their direct control. They've had alliances, they've had wars, billions dead. It's not like they hate each other, but it's not like they're friends. You get my point? It might be fine that I mixed them up. Look, they're not imperial. It's not my job to know every non-imperial thing going on. The Empire's the only thing that matters. So who cares about all that? But, if you do want equipment, we can't, really sell you imperial equipment. So go get some point combat templates equipment. But yeah, I mean, it's already been done. It's in our news video. We have a little advert segment in our news videos, and our last one was 4-point combat templates. They're specifically the IFVs. Modular infantry fighting vehicles, Good stuff. Speaking of, I should probably actually at some point, pixel out those. That'd be neat. I need to work on my pixel art some more. Did I show those off? Well, we're almost out of time anyway. Let's just add the XP. Here we are. Here we are. Nope, wrong section. Here we go. Experience. Technically, 1, 2. Nope, that we didn't have good thinking. I'm not sure whether I'm even allowed to award good GM cooperation when the GM's a bot, World interaction, yes. Match, was it a good match? I rambled too much, no. One for RP, because that's all it was. One for world interaction. Not really good thinking, not really good cooperation. We didn't cooperate with anybody. GM cooperation, not really. So that's 2, 3, 4. 4 XP. As I mentioned before, we award XP for exploration and world interaction and all that. We just didn't do a lot of it or anything, so 4. Brings us to 99. I wish we had 100, but, That's just the way it works. Let's see. There we go. Let's go to here. Let's see if there's anything fancy we can do. First we gotta boop, boop. There we go. So today we made very little progress. Next time, well, we might maybe play a game on Sunday. Maybe.